What's happening? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here. I truly do mean that. Thank you so much. This is the world famous Cool Cars with Chris. And on today's fantastic episode, well, it's story time with Chris. Some disasters have been diverted. Yeah, we all go through some things when we have a car. Yeah, mechanical problems, road conditions, things like that. We're going to talk about those stories and what happened to me on a journey heading through the snow at work many years ago. Oh my goodness, what a total disaster that was. You'll hear about that on this episode. And today's special episode is brought to you by my company, Podcasting Audio. If you've been thinking about doing a podcast and you're kind of wondering, well, how do I even record and how do listeners even listen to the thing? All the technical like mumbo jumbo and where to start and what to listen to and how to do all this stuff. It's overwhelming. I get it. But with Podcasting Audio, I handle all of that for you. So all you have to do is just talk. The easy part, that's on you. The hard part, that's on me. And if you want to get involved, there's a special link below in the show notes of this very episode. Click that link, fill out a simple survey to see how I best can serve you for your podcast. Space is limited, so we'll be first come, first serve. And with that, let's roll. All right, what's happening, everybody? How are you doing today? I got Courage on the podcast, the Cool Cars with Chris podcast, the world famous podcast. Hey, Courage, did you know this podcast is actually world famous?
I was, curious about that originally when you started using that term, and I know you enlightened me a little bit. But how many countries are you seeing?
Last I checked, it was over 40, like in the low 40s, somewhere around there.
I would call that world famous.
Actually, it takes like two countries. I think if you're in another country other than your own, I think you're world famous. World famous. That's all it really takes. But over 40 countries, it's kind of crazy. I think over 40 countries around the world that are actually listening to this right now. Hello to you out there in whatever country you are in right now. We appreciate you listening. I'm sorry this is not your language or native tongue. Possibly it's in English. That's what we speak over here in America.
We got all the Google Translates and things. Now I bet
that's gotta be weird though. That's gotta be weird though, because I wonder like how it works with like slang terms and things of that sort. How it figures it all out. Yeah, but at most,
good thing we're not cursing and stuff.
Right. It's like such and such bleep or whatever it says, or it says like it fills in with curse word,
yeah,
or whatever. But yeah, I mean, podcasting, it goes worldwide. It's world famous. I'm not sure. I think YouTube does too. Although I haven't really looked at my analytics for YouTube in a while, so I don't even know like how that works. Or have you looked at yours? Have you seen any like weird countries pop up or anything like that?
I do look at like the short analytics and sometimes on the long form too. I've been relegated a lot to US and male heavily in terms of my demographics, but every once in a while you get something like random. Like I'd get like say 1 or 2%. Like Thailand or like, South America or like, I don't know, some like random, like, random video that does something with a certain demographic. So it's always interesting how that works, but nowhere near 40. It's usually just like 2, maybe 3 that I've seen, and at least with my content.
Yeah, I think it's a YouTube thing, honestly. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't really got into the weeds of the YouTube analytics, to tell you the truth, It's a little more complicated and a little above my pay grade. So I like to deal with the audio stuff, the podcast. It's a little easier to figure out. So I kind of play with that. But over 40-something countries, so maybe 50 by the time this gets released. I don't even know. But
yeah, get us to 50, guys.
Yeah, 50 or so, 100. How many countries are there, by the way? Is there 150 or 100-something countries? I don't even know.
Yeah, don't put me on the spot.
No, I don't even know. That's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter, But we live here in the United States. That's what matters most. We're here right now, Southern California. And being that Southern California, I think that I can't even imagine what it'd be like owning a fun, like sports car or sports type car in these cold, crazy climates like New York or Minnesota or places like that. I can't even imagine what that's like. Having to like swap out your tires with like summer tires or winter tires, or even just park your car in like a storage shed for the winter.
That's a lot of people's method. Yeah.
I've seen videos where people like will park, or they'll be saying like, putting her away for the winter. And they're like, putting the car in like a storage shed or like a warehouse or some sort. And they'll have like this tarp they put over the car too. So they'll tarp it and they'll put it in the container or whatever, that kind of thing. Probably pull the battery, of course, and all kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
here in Southern California, we pretty much can run our cars, aside from some rain, we can, run our cars, all year round, and also probably still use the same kind of tires for the most part. I mean, those summer tires are really designed for the rain that much, but you probably can still use them.
Yeah, I mean, you probably unless you're really really dealing with some heavy rain, which I mean, it at that point it affects everybody. Like it's even if you do have like all season tires, like you slow down a lot when you get like really heavy rain. And so yeah, a lot of times the benefit of changing out tires when you're in a rainy season, quote unquote, that it has no it's nowhere near as important as yeah, like if there's snow involved or like any potential icing or anything, like you definitely need to have tires that are rated for
Or
that.
chains, or what are they? Have you ever put chains on tires
I
before?
was I was literally going to ask you that too. I There was the last year I think we were going to go up to Idlewild right around that time where it snowed, and I went to Walmart to like buy some because they were like there is a potential that you might need chains. And I was all excited. I don't remember if I actually practiced or not, put them on, but I did. I was all excited for that potential because I've never used chains before. And it ended up, the day that we went up, like everything was plowed. It was actually like a really, really nice day, but it had snowed enough over the last like couple of days that all of the snow still stuck on the mountain. So I missed that opportunity to install chains, and I ended up actually just returning them to Walmart the day
Well, I
after.
bet they
So
get a lot of returns for those things.
yeah.
I think you have to have them. CHP makes you show them, I believe, at some checkpoints.
Mhm.
As you get
Yeah.
through, you have to show you have them, but I don't think you have to put them on unless they
And that
make you
was the
put 'em
main
on.
reason we got them because we were like, we knew that there was a potential that we wouldn't need to actually install them. But just, yeah, like if they do say that like you can get checked to see if you have them. And if not, they'll turn you around and make you go home,
Dude, I
basically.
have never put chains on either a semi truck or a truck or a car of any kind. I've done
Yeah.
all of my deliveries and all my driving has been right here in the San Diego area, LA
Yeah.
basin, that kind of stuff for the most part. We do have some snow if you go out east towards the desert. Before it goes to the desert, it goes up that mountain pass and then it drops back down. And it does get over 4,000 feet, I think. And it does snow from time to time up there.
Have
But
you ever been in a situation where you potentially might have like you thought you might have to, but then ended up not having to, or have you always
let me
just been
tell
in
you a
pretty good
story.
weather?
It's Chris's story time today, I guess.
Yeah.
So let me tell you. So at my work, I deliver gas. I work for a gasoline company. This is the company I work for now is different, but it's the same company, I guess, but they changed ownership. That's not the point. But the point is that like they sent us out. We used to do deliveries out in the desert. We don't do that anymore, but we had like a few handful of stations that were out in the desert. We're talking like El Centro. What else is out there?
Like
Brawley,
Calexico.
Calexico, Brawley. Like there's probably like, I think we had like 7 or 10 stations kind of sprinkled out in that area we delivered to. And so it was probably the week of New Year's Eve. So it was like in between Christmas and New Year's Eve, like maybe the day before New Year's Eve. And so another driver and I, like I think 3 of us went out that way. And I'm driving out there in the loaded gas truck, and we're going through the mountain section. And the section of the road, if you know the area, before you kind of pass Descanso and you're kind of like into the hills section right there, first it was raining on the way up, and then the rain started fluttering into snow and it started getting the snow. And of course, it just happened. So the entire road just like disappears. Like I can't see the road or anything. I'm just trying to like go through it as slow as I can. And then I got stuck in traffic, a traffic jam right before that casino that's out there. It's called Golden Acorn Casino. And there's a slight hill incline that goes up to it. And I'm like stuck in traffic trying to just like, I put the differential lock on the truck to like lock all the differential, lock everything, like almost like a 4-wheel drive to kind of get me moving. You can't
Yeah.
drive very fast in that mode, maybe like 20 miles an hour, which didn't matter because everyone's going slow anyways. They're crashing and spitting out. Everybody was spitting out and crashing to their cars or to the bank or whatever. Big traffic jam. Once I got through that, I had a call. I called my work. I called dispatch, said, like, I don't know if I can make it back because it snowed out. I'm loaded. I don't think it's safe to go back through that way. the further down, the further I go towards the desert, the drier it's going to be great. But I'm stuck in the desert. I get back home.
Yeah.
And so I very slowly made it all the way with snow and all, made it all the way down the mountain pass, all the way down to the desert, which is dry. When you got to the desert, it was like dry. It was fine. It was dry down there. Made my delivery, but here's the problem. The tanks are empty. It's very light. No traction. No traction. Snow on the roads. Like I don't have it safe to go back that way. And so I called work and they said, there's another driver out there at the other station. Meet up with him. He knows another way to go home. You guys are in a caravan together to get back there. And the way home was to go all the way through Palm Springs, through Coachella, and back out through Colton and back down that way.
Was that so you got up the 10?
I think it was, but it was dry. It was like no snow, but you can see the snow on the hill and stuff.
Yeah.
It took so freaking long to get home. We actually had to get fuel in Colton to make it back because our tanks were like quarter tank or less at Colton. By the time we got reach Colton and then made it home. But I think I got home that night 6 a.m. or whatever.
Wow.
Something like that. Yeah, I think made it to the yard 6 a.m.
What would the drive have been if you say none of that happened and you just went back?
Yeah, okay. Usually when you go out of the desert and back, it takes forever going out because you're pulling those big hills loaded. The truck is dying to be killed off. It's so you're using every ounce of power just to make that hill happen. And so you're doing that. And they're coming back empty when it's dry, it's breeze, you're flying through the mountains, no big deal. And so maybe 6 hours, I would say. A 6-hour turnaround, I would say, for something like that. Go out there, you load it, go out there, deliver, come back, maybe stop for a break, stop to get some drink or whatever.
So about three-ish.
Maybe three, yeah.
Both one way.
Yeah, something like that. So,
but if you were to take a guess at how long it took you guys to do that roundabout way to get back?
That was either my first load or a second load I did that day. I'm trying to remember. So probably, I think I left there at left loaded heading out, probably maybe around 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 6 or 7. And
PM?
And then, PM. And then, probably 12 hours, I think about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, shoot, that's, 12 hours.
Or something like that, some crazy amount, whatever it was. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, that was a crazy time running all around the world. But yeah, I don't drive in snow and regularly. And I guess the rule is with our company, I see the rules change all the time, but it was supposed to be if it's snowing, you turn around, you come back kind of thing. But I was already I felt like I was at the point of no return where I kind of was already, so what do you do kind of thing. I was kind of stuck in traffic. It was crashing around me and stuff. But they said it just snowed, so they didn't get any plows out yet or that kind of stuff out yet. It just happened kind of deal,
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I'm from Southern California. I'm from down here where the weather's nice. We don't get any of that kind of snow stuff in the city. So I'm still not really used to driving in the snow. But I know people do it all the time. They drive all the time in the snow. So, but that being said, I've got my Z sports car. I drove it today. Twice today. I drove it today. I was trying to check out the clutch today, see if the clutch have any issues with the clutch. Listen, with this car, because I bought it used and the Carfax didn't really tell me much. It said a couple Jiffy Lubes here and there and a couple alignments here and there. There was nothing major on any of the Carfax. Because there's major, no clutches replaced, no, it doesn't show anything. But there has been stuff done to the car. We know there's been stuff done to the car. We know it's got coilovers. We know it's got bigger brakes that have been upgraded. We know it's got the slotted rotors. We know it's got an intake. We know it's got stuff, but it's not really reported. The question I have is, has any of the important stuff been done? Like the clutch, which I don't.
Transmission fluid.
Right. I have no idea. All I can do is the oil. I did the oil change and topped off the brake fluid for the clutch and things like that, and do what I could do what I can.
Yeah.
But going to work one day, I was taking the car to work, nice sunny day, whatever. I'm driving to work, cruising, do my thing, and I'm shifting through the gears. I'm doing my thing, and I noticed as I shifted, either downshifted or upshifted, I forget, the radio kind of went out and kind of reset. And I was like, well, that's odd, but maybe it's a glitch. Maybe it's just it's an aftermarket radio. Maybe it's a glitch, whatever. And then I noticed that I got the check engine lights pop up on the dash, and they were one said ABS, another one said like traction control or something popped up, but they both went on at the same time as I shifted, and they kind of went away as I like shifted again or something. It was kind of weird. Like, that's weird. And I did it like each shift, like the next like 3 shifts I did. I had to make a tight turn. I was like, interesting. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna, before this car like dies on me or whatever, because I was afraid things was gonna stop in traffic or die on me. That's like the worst feeling ever, is have your car like completely die on you in the middle of like traffic and there's no place to pull over. Like that's my nightmare. Like I have nightmares of that, like that happening. And so I knew a spot where I can pull over. It's like, get off to where my work is at. There's this little like off ramp that kind of goes off the freeway, but it kind of curves around this bend. And as it curves around this bend, there's a space to put like 3 cars kind of spot. So, okay, I'm going to pull over there. I've pulled over there before for stuff. So I'm pull over there, and I was like, well, that's weird. Maybe reset the car and see if like maybe it's a glitch or something, Because sometimes on the work trucks, if you like shut it down, reset it, like it has glitches like that too sometimes. It like clears it out and starts working again. So that's what my theory was. Like with any electronic, you think like, just reboot it. The computer's not working right. Just turn it off, turn it back on. Okay, great. I do that, and the car never turns back on. It starts.
Did you get the click? The click, or
no? I wasn't even getting that. I was getting like it was trying to turn on. It's push button. It was trying to start, but like it go from the auxiliary mode to trying to start, and then like nothing.
Just die.
And like not even nothing. And then for a while, it wasn't even doing that. And like that's so weird. I'm like, what is going on with this thing? And so, I had to call for help, of course. And I actually called work, told them I was going to make it today. I was like, well, guess what, guys? I'm not making it in today because I don't have the car. It's dead. And I'm kind of like stranded here. So I'm literally a mile from work, but, I got bigger problems right now. So I'm going to figure this thing out. So I had a tow truck come by. By the way, it took forever. It took literally for freaking ever. The guy got lost. I tried explaining where my position was. And I think they even know like via GPS or whatever, they can figure it out. But he got so lost. It took him like literally 3 hours to show up. I thought it would take
no way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like 3 hours.
And it's not like you're like in the middle of nowhere. You're like
in San Diego. Yeah.
In San Diego.
Yeah. So,
wow.
But I think because you're on like an off ramp, I'd explained to him which off ramp I was at. It was in a spot of the freeway where the freeway kind of divides. And, or like sometimes you go on the wrong off ramp, and I didn't know the name of the off ramp because every off ramp has got like a number attached to it. And I didn't know that number. And like, what number is it? Like, I don't know. I just told him what off ramp. I just kind of explained where I was at. But he finally shows up. He gets his little battery jumper out, jumps the car. The car did turn on. And then, okay, great. But I did notice that the volts was like dancing. The volt gauge was dancing. And then as I gave it some throttle, the volts would like, go up or whatever. And then dance around a little bit. But it wasn't showing any codes on the car. No like check engine lights, nothing like that. He says it's probably a alternator or something or whatever. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, the original plan was the insurance company told me, have this guy show up. They'll tow it to the closest like repair shop, whatever. They gave me a list of repair shops. Okay, fine. Well, I want to
you didn't drive after he jumped it. You weren't driving.
No, I thought about it, but I'm like, you know what? This guy's already here. He's already got the truck. It's already kind of like already paid for, I said, hook this bad boy up and take it to this. I actually took it to a Pep Boys because that was the when the insurance company gave me a list of shops to take it to. I just picked the first one on the list. It was Pep Boys. I said, if it's alternator battery, they probably fix it there, And then the tow truck guy's arguing with me. He's like, no, take it to the other shop. No, don't take it there. Take it to another shop. Say what you can about Pep Boys, good, bad, whatever. But they're too expensive, too whatever. I said, right now, the money isn't the issue. The money is the fact that like, it's getting late in the day. You're 3 hours late and places are closed right now. So I got to take it somewhere else.
I don't have very many options right now.
Right. So that's my thinking is like, oh, you said you just go down this road here. You'll find a shop. No, I don't want to just quote, find a shop. And then what if it is a battery? And the guy's like, well, I can't even fix that. I don't have a battery in my shop. Well, no, duh. Yeah. Why do I take it to a place that has the stuff I need? So I said, no, tow it to the place. We'll take it to the Pep Boys they suggested. We'll take it there. The insurance is already planning to take it there. You're supposed to take it there in the first place. You're already late, by the way. But I was being nice to the guy. I was already frustrated.
You're not in a position to be giving me advice right now.
Right. So I'm being totally cool with the guy. Like, okay, fine, take it there. Take it to the place you want to take it to. Took it to the Pep Boys. And by the way, my car's got an aftermarket tow hook on the front of it. And the guy said, hey, does this work? I said, let's find out. And so he hooked up to it. And I was in the car to make sure it didn't roll back or whatever kind of thing. And it towed right up. It pulled right fine. It didn't, nothing hooked up. It worked. And then we locked it on there. It literally had the thing strapped down in a matter of like 1 minute. It was so fast getting the thing up there.
Yeah, versus when you had to when they had to hook up from underneath the car, like that takes forever to get
Well,
get the car.
but I know when I had my other car, I had it towed. I think it kind of took a while. He had to put like special blocks on the thing because it was so low. This car feels lower than the other car. But anyways, he got on there, no problem. And they towed it over there. And I think he like just dropped it. I think he dropped it. I was inside like dealing with the people inside the shop. And I heard it was like bang, bang, clank. I heard the car roll back. Like, what did he just do? Did he just like drop it off? Like just let it go?
Were you able to rate this guy? Because
I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to. I think I did with the insurance company. I think they did ask me, like on their app, it asked me like, rate your service.
How was your service?
Kind of thing or whatever.
Because this is all around just like not great. So you're late.
Right. He was arguing with where to take it. He wanted to take it there. And then like he's,
almost dropped my car off the truck.
It was like bang, bang, I'm out of here, kind of thing. I thought I'd signed something before I knew the guy was already gone. So okay, whatever. So I talked to people at Pep Boys. I say, hey, listen, it's electrical issue. Check. I guess they have a way to check it all. Not just the battery, but they check everything electronic wise in the car. And they said, it's just a battery. I said, great, because I thought it was the alternator and who knows what or whatever.
Because that was what I remember we were talking back and forth, and because my mind went straight to the alternator, just because usually like somebody told me in the past and that if the car dies like while you're driving, a lot of times it's usually the alternator.
Well, see, it didn't do that. It did. I shut it off. So it was
that's the point.
I shut off because I didn't know what this car was going to do. I was throwing codes at me and throwing lights at me like a Christmas tree, and I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen next, And I'm like, and had I got to work and turned it off, I would have to have the same problem at 3 a.m. You know what I'm saying?
The fine lines that
3 a.m. having to deal with like, now what do I take it to? Now what do I do kind of thing? Who would I call now to pick me up at 3 a.m. and take me home and get, luckily they have another car or whatever. But, so they fixed the battery, but they said they had to keep it overnight because it was close to closing time. Thank God, by the way, this guy like took it to the right place, because if he took it to some other shop, they all would have been closed. It was like Pep Boys stays open later, but not like forever late. But they are later than your average like Joe's auto shop.
What time did you guys get there?
It was before closing. Not just before closing, but probably, what time was it at? Maybe, I think they closed at 6 or 7. I forget. Maybe it was around
any
8.
shop. Yeah, any shop that you would have went to that you would have, even if somebody was still there, they would have been like, I'm not looking at this thing until tomorrow.
Right. Then you're kind of like, now what do you do kind of deal. And so, I took it there. It was a battery, left it there. I had to go pick up the next day. My dad took me back over there the next day to pick the car up. And it was just a battery, they said. But they did say it needed new front tires on the car. And I was like, do you want to change? I'm like, nah, I'll look at them later. I said, just do the battery. It's like when you do your oil change and they say you need all these other things. You're like, no. Just put that dirty air filter right back and I will, let's do the oil change right now. We'll worry about that later kind of thing. It was kind of like one of those moves. I was like, I'm just focusing on the battery. I'll worry about the tires later. And sure enough, later, I went to go check the tires. I kind of looked at them. The car's so low to the ground, it's kind of really tell. I'm kind of looking at them like, they are kind of worn. Let me take it over to Discount Tire. Because I've gotten many tires at Discount Tire. Probably like 3 or 4 sets of tires now at this point. And so I went over there with my car, had the guy look at them. He said, yeah, those front tires are worn. And I said, oh man, did they replace right now? He said, yeah, well, you probably should. At least the front ones. Back ones are fine. The front ones, And the Z.
That's actually interesting because a lot of times, especially with rear wheel drive cars, it's the rear tires that end up.
But not if they've been changed already, like in sets. Because the backs don't match the front. They're different. They're different brands. Which tells me. See, that's the thing. The Carfax doesn't tell me this stuff. So I'm kind of like figuring these little breadcrumbs of clues, trying to figure out what's going on with this car here. That the back tires were changed at some point, and the front tires were changed at a different point because the front tires were out for first. They maybe at one point all 4 tires were the same, but the guy might have bought different back tires because they wore out faster, maybe. And so
were they different? Are they different brands though as well?
Yes, okay, that's how I knew they're different brands. Like nobody buys 2 separate different brands. And if you buy all 4 tires, you buy all 4 of the same tire. And so that's what I thought. So
That
So
usually tells a lot about the previous owner, to be totally honest.
well, the tires are offset, so they're different sizes. So you can't rotate them. You can't like a normal car. You can rotate your tires around. You can't
That
do
is
that on
true.
mine.
Yeah.
And so I asked the guy that at the discount tire. I said, "Well, what are you supposed to do?" He says, "Just leave them. Just check them. Leave them. Not much you can do. You might be able to go side to side, but if they're directional,
You
not
can't
really.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be a weird. So he said, just keep an eye on them or whatever and that kind of stuff. So I said, well, do you have tires that fit? What tires do you have? Do you have them available in the store? And they do, because they're like, yeah, we got those right now. We got those here. I said, great, because the last time I changed tires on my other Z, it was like a week to order them, and then they had to make an appointment and all this stuff. But this guy said that he had it done in an hour, literally an hour. Right, going to check in, an hour later, done. 2 brand new tires on the front of the car, done. And so I did that. He said the back ones are fine, but they really weren't that much. They were a lot, but they were like that much. They weren't like, a ton of money. But so I got the battery and 2 brand new tires in the car, and she's running good. Although I have noticed, I'm starting to notice this now, the clutch starts to let out towards the top. And I don't know if I just started noticing it or it's always done that kind of thing. But so I'm kind of thinking like maybe I'm going to need to like, that's what worries me the most is getting a clutch for this car. And I'm like, oh my gosh, But I keep checking the reservoir for the clutch fluid. It's not low. It's not leaking. Nothing. Like that'd be the first thing that you would see. Like the things start dropping, the slave cylinder would start leaking, and you would see some kind of sign. That would be the first place you'd see it. Would be out of there. And the clutch doesn't feel like tough or spongy or doesn't feel nothing out of place really. I just noticed it seems like it's let out towards the top. But where does yours let out, by the way, in your car?
It is towards the top, but it's like a weird. It's not very linear. I think we talked about this before, where like there's a lot of like nothing going on, like up until a certain point, and then your grab point is like somewhere kind of little, like above medium or above halfway or so is when you know that it's engaged. So it's not all the way at the top, I guess, if that makes sense. Like you're kind of halfway up by the time you start to know that like things are engaged. When you're below that, like you're really, yeah, like I said, it's just like kind of a lot of nothing. Like
Well, I know I got my clutch done in my car. The first time I drove it, it was towards the bottom, I think. I remember. I think the clutch engagement was really towards the bottom of the floor.
yeah.
But
I'm wondering,
yeah.
wondering if there's just like some potential adjustment, because I remember with my 300ZX there was a point where, and I don't know if it's after, because I did actually have my slave cylinder go out on that too, which I guess is somewhat a common
It's a
thing of like other
Nissan curse.
other Nissan curse, and I've after you told me that, it took me a while to even remember the situation of, yeah, just being like just driving regularly and just literally having your clutch go straight down to the floor. And I was like, luckily, I was literally around the corner from my house that I lived at. Like it was in central San Diego at the time. And I did actually have to sort of run a red light a little bit. It was a yellow light as I was coming up to it, but I definitely like it turned red by the time I had gotten into the intersection. But it was the only way that I wasn't gonna just end up stalling out coming right to that turn to come into my house. But I was in like 4th gear. And so like the car is like just like slugging, like, trying not to like have it stall out. But I just kind of had to coast my way through. And once I had it redone, once I had the new slave cylinder installed, there was a point where like the clutch started to like it would fully let out before the clutch was all the way up. And there was something that they ended up doing that adjusted the pedal so that it actually worked the way that it was supposed to. Because there was a certain point after we like fixed it where I would almost have to like put my foot underneath the clutch and bring it all the way back, because
Wow.
it would like, because basically fully like let out wasn't all the way, it wasn't traveling all the way up. And I can't remember, it's been so long since I had to do that, but I seem to remember that there was like, some procedure of like adjusting the just where like the clutch kind of like alleviates kind of up and down to get it to like, kind of do
Well,
what
that
it's
was the first
supposed to.
sign
But
that my other clutch went out, was that I put it to the floor and it wouldn't come back up. I had to put my foot behind it and like pull it back up my toe.
yeah.
And I did it
Hmm.
again and it got stuck on the floor again. Well, it's getting stuck on the floor. That's weird. And that's what happened. I realized, oh, there's no gear, there's nothing here. And so that's what happened to me. But no, so I did do some, Googling some research on how to test out see if your clutch is slipping or not. And so the test that I found, I did this tonight or this afternoon, is that you put your car in third gear, probably second, third, somewhere around, but third it says is that you run it at 2,500 RPM or so, and then you floor it and see if the RPMs jump before you move. And if you notice the RPMs climb before you start moving, the clutch is slipping. And mine, I did it tonight and I didn't notice anything. I did a bunch of variations of the test. I did on the freeway, did the same kind of thing. And it seems like when you gun it, it goes. Like it goes. I mean,
Oh, I get it. So you're in third gear. You're at like 2,000 whatever 2,500 RPMs.
yes.
But you're off the clutch completely.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
And
yeah,
then you floor it.
Yes. I think
And
that's
then
how I understand.
Yeah. Okay. Because I can see that. Because like, yeah, if you do that and you see like your RPM go up, but you're not you don't feel like any acceleration. That's like
Or a delay or a lag kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it
Okay.
lags and catches up, the clutch would be slipping. And I didn't notice. I did variations of those tests, and I didn't notice anything tonight happening where it wasn't slipping or anything. It went when the RPMs went, the car moved the whole time, and I checked it and stuff, and I'm like, let me try it on the freeway, and I tried it in fourth too, same thing, and
That's an interesting test because I've heard another test where it was like just have it if you put the car like if you're at a stop sign or you're like in a safe spot and you put the car in like a high gear like fifth or even sixth gear and you slowly let out the clutch.
try to start it in
And
that.
no, like if it say the car is already running and then you obviously clutch in, you put it into like a really high gear, either fifth or sixth, and you slowly let it out. If you don't stall out in a high gear like that as you lift off, or if it takes a really, really long time for the car to start to stall out, then that was another test that back in the day where when they were like, when you're buying a manual car, like do this. And like that might be a quick sign of whether this car needs a clutch or not. But it was something about like the ratio of like a higher gear that if you slowly let out the clutch and the car isn't reacting to that properly, that's also a sign of like you probably got some clutch slippage at some point. But I'd never heard that one that you just mentioned, which is like probably a better way to test it than
It's a more fun way.
yeah. Yeah, it's a more fun way to test it.
for sure. And see, but it's just to see if it holds, if it doesn't slip or whatever kind of thing. Like it's like a transmission thing. If your transmission is slipping, you'll notice the RPMs are going, but you're not really moving. That's kind of a sign your transmission might be slipping or whatever. And I guess the clutch is no different than any other transmission. And so if you're in a gear, third, for example, and you're trying to go and it's not really going, but you hear the RPMs are going, that could be a sign, the clutch could be doing. But like I said, I had no problem so far. It seems to be working great. Although I didn't like driving in the rain today. I had to figure out where all the knobs were for like the, this car, I really don't want to drive in the rain unless I don't have to, I got the truck for that. And so trying to figure out where are the wipers at? Like wiper blades, where are you on this thing? Like where are the sensors? Where are this kind of stuff? Like that.
Testing out if your wipers actually are like still good and not like.
Well, they work.
Dry rot it.
Yeah, they work or whatever. Of course, I didn't drive in a downpour, but one thing I did.
Lucky you, because I did.
Well, dude, there was traffic coming home. There was a big accident, and it was so bad that the freeway was like, so bad we like pretty much parked on the freeway, kind of bad. And I did notice, speaking of stalling out in the clutch, is that I put it in first gear and it'll like just go almost to like 1 mile an hour if I just let it just cruise in first without stalling. Because like usually in a stick, if you get too low, it'll like start doing that jumpy jump and like ready to stalling, even with the clutch in.
Oh, you can pretty much be at like almost
stopped. Like almost like I don't know if it was just because the gearing or just because what, I don't know. But it's a clutch thing. I don't know. But it was cruising. I was in traffic. I'm like, I'm not tired of pushing the clutch back and forth. I'm just gonna like let this thing go, almost as if I was in an automatic, just like cruising. But I obviously wasn't touching the brake pedal because I know if I did, that would bring me to a stop. And if I did, then it definitely would stall. But I was like just basically not really giving it gas and just letting it move by itself. And
do you ever get those people that are like behind you when you're trying? Because I do that every once in a while, and like. Because you obviously kind of give yourself a little bit more of a gap in between the cars so that like you can adjust to it like without having to use the brake, like you said.
Oh yeah,
Do
yeah, all the
you
time.
do you get a lot of like the people that just don't understand that concept and want to be like right on your bumper? Basically, when you give like even like the slightest bit more gap than like than they're expecting. Do you get a lot of that?
But if behind you mean? Like,
Yeah, like
there's
with
nothing.
like people.
Yeah, well, there's nothing you can do. People behind you, there's nothing you can do about that. They're gonna
Yeah,
ride. Only you can control
hmm
is the space right in front of you. That's
that's
the
it. Yeah.
only thing you can control. So give yourself enough space. And what sucks for me is that being that in a stick shift with a clutch, it could be questionable on a hill, like at a light, and there's a car on my bumper, kind of thing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this thing's gonna roll back. Like I try to, kind of thing. And it happened to me today, but I didn't hit the guy, but like I was on a hill at a light, doing my little test drive today. And there was a spot where it's like a light and a little bit of a hill. And the guy behind me, and I was like, okay, let's see, I gotta. So I did kind of like creep up ahead of the light, give myself the space because he was like right next to me too. Did my best, give it some gas, enough gas to get it moving up, a little bit of space, kind of tell him like, kind of give him some clues that I'm in a stick shift, without like yelling out the window, I'm in a stick shift or hitting the guy. But if people don't know what a stick shift is or how they work or how they drive, speaking of stick shifts, today, I kid you not, I was looking on AutoTrader today to find the cheapest stick shift in town to buy to have my son learn how to drive it.
Huh. Interesting.
Because, like, I mean, you can, and the cheapest one I found, I think it was a Hyundai. The Accent was like, still they want like $5,000 for these things. I did find
No
a
way.
Ford Fiesta, and it was like $3,500. I think it might have been the cheapest one I saw, stick shift.
Wow.
So I'm thinking like, there's got to be like a beater car, like a stick shift beater car around town that you can like pick up for like, I'm hoping like maybe $1,000 or less that you could like pick up and just teach someone to drive a stick shift on, because you don't need to like, it doesn't need like an all-purpose car or a sports car or anything like that. It just has to be something that's to learn the
Yeah, just
concept.
something. That's just crazy to how expensive things are. Like if that Accent you said was what, $5,000?
I think 5 or 6 grand, but I forget what year it was. It was like either 2012, 2013, something like that.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. I mean, I bought my 300ZX for $2,500.
I don't know how you pulled that off, dude. You must have sold it for a fortune.
I sold it for $5,000.
That fortune right there, a fortune. A
But
fortune.
I put basically $2,500, if
Yeah,
not more,
that's like my car
into
too.
it. So
Like my other one, I put a ton of money into it too, and I sold it for. I probably took a loss. If you look at everything, add it all up, I definitely took a loss on the car for what I paid for. That dealership ripped me off too. What a rip off, man! That's why I bought the new one. I ain't buying that crap. I got suckered into everything. But I bought the car because it was used. I was like, wait, it's used. I got suckered into every single thing that in the kitchen sink I threw on that freaking bill when I bought the car the first time. And this time they tried doing that same crap. I said, no, I'll just, get it fixed or pay for it to get fixed or whatever. But because warranties don't cover everything. You think they do. They think they do. They try to sell you that crap and then you take it in for a warranty work. Oh, we don't cover that. What do you mean we don't cover that? See the fine print right there? We don't cover that and that little bolt there. We don't cover that bolt, by the way. Or
yeah,
part,
it's like that part of it is like not covered, so the rest of this is not covered either. So.
or the big one, especially with a modified car. Oh, you got a modified car? Yeah, those wheels aren't stock. We can't touch those. Oh, that exhaust isn't stock. We can't touch that.
This is the one reason why I've, again, knock on wood, but I have not taken my car into the dealer for even an oil change, and that's because of that whole thing with I talked about a while ago where I had because I have the vinyl overlays over my headlights. I went to the dealer asking him about some condensation I was noticing on like one of my left headlights, and they took the car and they were like, oh yeah, we'll take a look at it, and I come back and guy at the counter, serious as all day, is oh, we took a look at your headlight, and unfortunately because of the modification over the headlight, we weren't able to dig much deeper into it, and you basically have to come back and take the vinyl strip off before us to look at anything else related to that. And that small little decision for them to do that is kind of made me realize that anything else is fair game for them to write me off with that. And I don't have anybody I used to have a guy that I knew that was actually a technician there that, he had a modified Veloster in. So I was like, oh, well, he'll take care of me. He knows the deal. Like, he doesn't work there anymore. So I'm not going to play that game if I don't have to.
Right.
So.
It's a dealership deal, man. If it's not it wasn't put on there by the manufacturer or the dealership themselves. They're like, not touching it, you know? And so if you modify a car, that's why I knew with this car that the new Z having it being modified just to a level, you know, to a degree for the most part. And I have having dealt with the other car and all its issues and paying for it out of pocket myself anyways, like the clutch out of pocket, everything I had to pay for is out of pocket. Well, I guess I'll have to do that again if these things come up, knock on wood. I don't know. But I'll cross that bridge, I guess, when I come to it. I'm not going to spend all this extra money on a warranty I may not even use, you know? So I was like, no, I'm good there. Just give me the car and the tax registration and that's it. Out the door, done. And I'll worry about and the same thing. Funny, I did the same thing with my truck. Well, I bought my truck. They tried to sell me extra crap too. But I was like, no, it's a brand new Ford truck from Ford. They give you 5-year, 60,000 mile powertrain warranty included on every vehicle, including this one. And they give you a 3-year, 36 month or whatever is the bumper to bumper they give you.
Yeah, the 3-year 30, yeah.
Or whatever it is. They get it for free. I'm like, but he's trying to sell me beyond that. He's trying to sell me like the next like 100,000 or 50,000 beyond that for like 5-10 grand more. I'm like, no. Oh, you can take to cover services. They try upselling you, try selling the crap out of it, And I'm like, you know what? If something happens, it happens. But, I'm not going to pay for it. It's basically you're almost paying for the damage to happen in advance. You're paying for the $5,000 worth of damage today, the day you buy the car. Is what you're really doing. And so, but I'll just save my money and then hopefully pay the vehicle off. And then if I have to, replace something major, I'll, pay for it then, I guess. So, but I know a lot of people are in that situation. They, because, every dollar counts and I get that. I understand, but that's why I don't want to, it's almost like gambling, it's like, everything's a big gamble, really. The car can break. It may break, may not break. I don't know, but I think take good care of it, maintain it, well, change the oil, do basic maintenance.
You start to minimize some of these things. Maybe the batteries maybe.
I had no idea.
Even the small hit, but
on the battery, by the way, I had that car checked out. There was no mention of the battery in the report at all.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have even checked it. He might not have even checked it. I thought he would, but maybe he didn't check it. I don't know. If you're going to start it, it starts, the battery must be working. I don't know. But he did run the code sensor to it, to the car. He said there's no codes or anything. So that was good. But the battery, batteries go out every, 3 years or so. I don't know. My truck battery went out, did very similar things, started throwing codes and started throwing stuff on the dash. And I was like, what is all this weird stuff? Battery. This battery. You're just surprised. The battery does a lot. It controls everything. And it happens with that the sensors and different gizmos in the car require certain voltage. If they're not getting it, they start throwing codes.
Well, that's always kind of the interesting thing of like what systems are kind of like you almost kind of start to see like what systems are prioritized over others when that battery starts to deplete. Because like you said, you're getting warning lights and things for like stuff that like, why would this warning light be coming on right now? And that's not like, when I actually did have the alternator go bad and I remember like my dome lights, they started to like kind of pulse a bit.
Interesting.
And like after a while, it was like all of my lights, like every light that was illuminated, you could kind of tell that it started to pulse. And then from there, like I started to get like little random, like, lights would come on and they would go off. And it is interesting because like that electrical system, the battery, the alternator is like controlling the nervous system of the car. And it's like, as you deplete it more and more, like, the car is like prioritizing like its most important, kind of, sensors and things until the point where it just can't do it anymore. And then, I've had a situation where I literally just like you saw like everything just kind of die out to the point where, okay, it has like no juice left. So it's interesting,
Well, that's why I was afraid, like when I was going to work that one day, that I don't want this thing to like just die on me in the middle of the freeway, in the fast lane. What do I do then, And so that's why I thought if I get to a safe space and there was a safe space around the corner, I can get there, park it, and then I could check it out and take a look, and just see, what I'm dealing with. And like a safer spot where I'm not like in the middle of the lane of travel kind of thing. And that's kind of what I did, and things wouldn't turn back on. But thank God it was just a battery, got that fixed, and we were up and running. The car's running strong, it's running good. Had the intake changed out. I got the new filter on there too. And so, which is, I do notice a little more sound now coming from that. Maybe, it could just be in my head thinking that I just changed the filter out. Maybe I'm hearing it.
Did
But
you post? Did you post some on your Instagram or something? Or somebody did. I feel like of like you when you go out to test out. It's like it was a clip from a movie or whatever. Of
oh, the
like you
Fast and
going
Furious
out.
one where it's like I think it
Yeah,
just changed out an air filter. No,
yeah.
I'm sorry, was it air
It
freshener?
was air freshener. Yeah,
Yeah, just going all at it. I mean, that's kind of what I was doing with the intake because the intake literally is like a performance part, and having a new filter. I've washed the old filter, but I cannot get it as clean as a new one. I've washed it in soap, bucket water, all that stuff, and I cannot get it as clean as a brand new one. The brand new one looks like kind of a white, kind of like cotton material. And the old one, even after cleaning it, still looks like it was like out there in the mud or whatever, and I'm doing my best to clean it up. So I got the old one as a backup, but I'm thinking what I'm gonna do now is just buy a new one. They're easy to ship. They shipped in like less than a week. I mean, they're not cheap. I get that, but they'll last like 20,000 miles. So they'll last me like 3 or 4 years.
that they'll last you like 3 or 4 years. It last me.
A weekend.
Yeah. 50,000 miles in 2.5 years. 45,000 miles in 2.5 years. But yeah, we rack up miles differently for sure.
Well, I'm
But
saying if you had another car you're using all the time, like, if you only took that car out to like cars and coffees and like, maybe like a fun event here and there, like didn't use it as much as a daily driver, you probably keep it really low. That's the thing. But I'm driving it more. I'm driving it more because it's fun to drive. I mean, it's a fun car. I mean, I can't get enough of it. I'm driving the thing. Although the suspension is a little harsh, I'll give it that. But other than that, it just feels like a fun car. I love the way it sounds. I love the way it sounds, the power, the rush. It does have little burbles too. When you let go of the throttle, it does burble. Your car does the burble, I notice, or the pops too. But this one doesn't quite do the pops, but I notice it does the burbles.
you get a little of that. Yeah.
When you let go of the throttle, or at least you downshift it real. If you go from like third to second, and don't like kind of try to rev match, or kind of just like put it in gear and let it out. It does come out and it does that burble for sure. It's much noticeable, I notice, which is kind of cool, hot car. It could be because of the exhaust and everything I got done, and I'm digging it. I'm afraid. I want to see if I can test to see how loud the car is. Like do an actual like meter test on the car to see if it's like, because I think
Above,
the
like,
cops, I think it's
decibels,
96 decibels they give you a ticket or something like that. There's a range, and there's an app I have on my phone. I still have it. I don't have to look, but it's a decibel meter test where you can check to see it's not as accurate as theirs, but it's better than nothing. And then I can kind of get an idea of how loud it really is. I think I checked my other car. I was worried the same thing too. I was worried my other car was going to be too loud. And so I think I pulled it up and I checked it or whatever and saw to see what it was.
Yeah.
And
I gotta, yeah, I would be curious because I know we've talked about this before, but we had that they had that one guy like with the Elantra specifically that like he got pulled over and quote unquote got a state ref for like his stock exhaust because
no
they
way.
said that it was like that was like the popular story like a couple of years ago with these, and so every once in a while you get somebody, oh, you gotten state ref yet? It's like, no, I haven't gotten state ref yet.
I'm afraid of that, dude.
But my method with that is just, dude, I got the two modes. Like, that's the one blessing that I like with just having an active exhaust. And, obviously to do it to add that to a car that doesn't already have it is a little bit more legwork. I did have like one of those Valvetronic exhausts on the FX, but it actually didn't really work properly because I think like the dealer, like the installer that I had do it, I think they messed up something with the valve when they installed it. And so it never sounded like it was actually opening. And so I think there was something with the actuator that I think they broke. But the end obviously has like, different modes. And so you can create custom modes in it. And one mode is like full in mode, which is the loudest it can be. And
is that what you keep it all the time?
Rules. No, I do drive probably majority of the time in either sport or in mode. But whenever I'm on a long like highway drive, I put it in my custom in mode where everything is pretty much in like its sport plus except for suspension, and then the valves are closed. So I basically like when I get on the highway and I know I'm going to be on driving at 70 miles per hour for like, a while, I'll put that on. And so it keeps the performance, it keeps like the throttle response, but it closes the valve. So it's pretty much, if you have music on, you really can't hear
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
And then that's also my like, police officer near me mode.
That's
So
what I'm worried about. Like that's what worries me, I'm
yeah.
knock on wood, but like I think my truck might be louder than the Z.
The truck has a tone to it. And
Yeah, but I think because it's a truck, people like expect it to sound like that. Maybe like, oh, it's a truck, it's a
yeah.
V. I get it, kind of thing. I don't know, maybe sports cars too. I mean, I've heard Porsches go by that like are definitely like stock and they sound loud too. So, I don't know. I really don't know. I
I
don't
feel
want.
like a lot of times, like if you just, if you are being crazy, like I mean, yeah, you might be making some noise here and there, but like as long as a cop doesn't see you screaming, full throttle going by and like hearing
That's the
you
fun
at
of it
full
all, man. Let me
revs,
tell
like
you, like
yeah,
red line is the fun of it. That makes it so much
yeah,
fun.
so we
Yeah.
all just want to just redline
My
everywhere,
favorite thing,
like
dude, my favorite thing in the car is I'm getting on the freeway and I'm like, I'm going through the gears. I'm like in third gear, get on the freeway, third gear, doing maybe 80, pull to fourth, going 80. And you're probably doing like 4,000, 5,000 RPM. And I kind of take up to seven before I take it in the fifth. And then by the time I'm going like, past 80 or whatever it is. And then I kind of drop it. When I just drop into six just to cruise, but like at fourth and fifth, like going between fourth and fifth and taking the tack up there, it sounds so good. It just moves. It just like it's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing. I can't get enough of it. It's
that's,
so
I mean, there's some about like a get on. And today even like I was getting on as I was heading out, and I always have this way that I go when I'm going down south. That this back road that then leads to the 15, and I'm getting on, and I always kind of still give it a little bit of beans when I'm getting on because the car's warm at that point. But I had an extra excuse because as I'm coming down the on ramp, I saw that there was like was somebody coming, like somebody in that passing lane or in that lane that I'm about to get in, and it was like a lot of distance. So it's not as if like, you're in a dangerous situation. But, I saw this like meme a while back of like when you see somebody like, in that like, slow lane or in that like rightmost lane when you're getting on the on ramp, it's like there's no way that person's gonna like I'm slowing down for that person. So I'm obviously gonna gun it. So that gave me like the excuse of, well, I gotta pass this guy. So, third gear, like, basically full throttle and, I was at about like 50 or 60 before I did that. And like, you're going downhill on top of that. And so you hit third gear and you max it all the way through third to fourth. And yeah, you're pretty much like right where you said, like about 80, close to 85-ish like
I
that point.
think
But
I think my
but
car can go. I think my car can go do 80 and third at like red line. I think I have to double check. I think it's what it is. If you're gonna take every gear to red line, I think 80 red line is what. But yeah, in third. I think I have to double check. But
I'm probably about the same because I know for sure just with going to street legal often that second gear I'm right at about 60 top end. Like I kind of to go beyond like 60 or 60, 61, 62, I have to be in third gear. So I would think the third gear would probably take me up to like 85 or maybe probably about 80 or so.
what is
So
your one
they're
to one gear? Do you know?
fourth fourth or fifth,
Okay,
one of
I
those.
think mine's fifth.
Hmm.
Yeah, on my other truck, it was my old Ford Ranger. I think it was fourth. And the only reason I knew that because the transmission went out and it was the gear not making any noise. Fourth. So, because it was the one to one gear. All the other gears made noise, like this weird humming, rattle noise, and then real loud noise. And I didn't know nothing about the cars, and nothing was going on. But the whole transmission, like all the teeth were like, just destroyed in the transmission. And but it's weird, like and I noticed in fourth gear, it didn't make any sound at all. It sounded like a normal car. I'm like, that's interesting. Why does the fourth do that? Because it was the one to one gear. That's why. But yeah, dude, I love the car. You love your car. It's great, man. How long do you think you're gonna keep your car? You think realistically?
Man, I don't know. I feel like it could serve a lot of purposes even when I have like other fun cars. Is I mean I could see going like a little bit more of like a heavier track build with it, like not like super crazy, like taking out all the interior, like taking out the back seats and everything, but you can go with like maybe a beefier suspension and do a little bit more with the aero, like get some track tires and have it be a cool little track toy here and there. Like I don't know. I really like. Yeah, I expect to at least still have like at least like another 3 or 4 years with that car for
They give
sure.
it to you
Like
when you're kids.
yeah, yeah. We'll see there. The cool thing too, as well, is that we got there's the tuner in the area. They're in Corona, so they're not like right down the street. But these guys actually race in like some of the kind of leagues that like the Elantra and the street leagues that they race in, and they have a project that they've been working on that they just started racing out on the track for sort of this season's race, and they have a lot of parts that are now getting R&D based on that build, and so there's a lot of outlook of like, being able to do like, like the old, like the Civic hatches and everything, like having like a full on built motor with hybrid turbos and, forged internals and everything. Like you can really like kind of build these motors out in a way that I don't think a lot of people really know about these. And so, like I said, I can see it as almost like a little test bed to like, start to do some more crazier and ambitious builds when it's not the daily for sure.
Right, because you got to
But
make sure it makes it to work. That's
yeah,
the problem.
it makes it to do all the other stuff I got to do, but I still got to have that Camaro at some point. I got some other
And why don't you go Corvette, dude? Upgrade to the Big Daddy. There's a
The
bunch of
only
them out
thing about
there.
the Corvette is that I just want to have something that like even if it's just a coupe, like to have back seats. Like
That's true. Yeah,
I
I mean, realizing it with my car, it's like, hey, what kid goes with me today?
yeah,
What passenger? But it does make it simpler though. It's like, oh yeah, one
it
kid.
does. Yeah, you're so, but also like it's like well the wife in my situation
Oh
the wife
yeah.
can't go, and so it's either one of the kids, and most of the time anyway, since my youngest is the one that likes cars, like he'll if it stays that way, then he'll it'll be pretty easy anyway. But I just kind of like that little bit of extra bit of practicality
I
you
get
get
it
from
too.
having some back seats.
That's why I have the truck for that. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Your fun car for you is like the 2-seat sports
yeah. I
car,
guess
like,
I guess I compare it to like a motorcycle. Like having a Harley or
yeah.
whatever. You're
It's
not
like I'm on this. Like
right. It's not for anybody else really. I mean, you can have somebody else go with you, I guess, but it's mostly designed for a single person to use it. I mean, the Z's got this, of course, the seat and that kind of stuff, whatever, and all that stuff. And it's got room to put stuff in there. You can put suitcases. You can do a road trip. You can use it for, more than one person, and it does a job. But it's not like, I mean, and it's a grocery getter, I guess too. You can put stuff in it. You can carry not a lot. You go to Costco or any place, you got to make sure that you can't like overstuff the thing because you could put stuff on the floorboard, maybe if no one's with you in the seat. I've done that too. You ever seen those videos of these knuckleheads? They go to Walmart and they buy
just
like
see how much they can stuff
no, they
in
have a
their car.
70-inch TV and they
Oh.
try to Tetris this thing in like a Civic or something. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen that in person before, actually.
Oh, I have
Yeah.
not, but like I've bought TVs before, and I bought my big TV for this place. Like I have a truck, throw it in the back of the bed of the truck, and we're good to go, done. And that's what I did, And I can imagine, like I thought it would fit. I thought it would fit in the inside the cab of the truck. It didn't. It had to go in the bed. I got the big giant guy, and so I was kind of wondering about that because I mean, even for like a standard 45, maybe a 50-inch TV, the box, everything. I don't think you're getting that fitting that in a Civic or you're gonna, small Kia Kona or not Kia, Hyundai Kona. I don't think you're fitting in there.
I fit a 43-inch into.
The
No,
end.
actually, no. That was we had the FX at that point. So no, actually, yeah. I don't know what size TV I could fit in there because I can't fit it too big of a T or anything in the trunk because of the crossbar. If you've ever seen that red,
Yes, I did. Yeah, yeah. So your
red
seats
bar
don't
in the
fall
middle.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, they fall down, but then they got that in the way, and then the back seat, you still got limitation on how much the seats fall flat. So I don't know how big of a TV I could fit in there. I feel like I still could probably get a 43-inch because just
Would Amazon
lengthwise.
deliver that? Does Amazon deliveries for TVs? Do you know?
I don't know.
Like big giant ones, like 100-inch or whatever. Like something you
Yeah,
obviously
that would
can't.
be a fun thing. Yeah.
Obviously, something you can't fit in the back seat, even for truck or whatever. You get to be like delivery truck kind of TV. Remember when TVs were like super expensive? Now they're like Walmart, like, Tasman for like $100 down the aisle.
I always gotta like avoid that section because I'm like, a 48 or like a 55 inch is how much? Like it's like I don't need another
Dude,
TV.
I paid over $1,000 for my 55 inch. I have it still in storage. It's still in there. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what to do with it. I still have it. But when I came in here, I bought a new TV at Costco, and that's why I put it in the back. I went 70 inch, but it's I don't know. It was an okay deal. Like there were better like TVs, like better quality TVs for like way more money than I paid for my TV for the same size and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. And I don't watch a ton of TV anyways, but I wanted to upgrade the one I had, and so that's what I did. But I paid like half the price,
$300 or $400.
Yeah, I think I paid like 400, maybe 500. I paid for the thing, and yeah, you couldn't even. Gosh, back in the day, you couldn't get anything. You couldn't get a 40 inch for less than $2,000 or whatever.
TVs are getting super cheap, but cars are getting way too expensive. So
that's why you gotta buy used cars. Find something beat up, and then find a good mechanic.
Yeah,
or know a good place to take it to. Or if you do it yourself, I guess do it yourself. I mean, if you're a mechanic yourself, go ahead and do whatever. But if you know some place or know somebody that can do it for you, and it was always available too, because not just because they can do it doesn't mean they're gonna be available to do it too. That's another thing too. Like I got a guy at work. Oh, take it, my buddy. Well, is he available? No. Where is he? Is he close by? No. Well, then that's not gonna do me any good. So if you're gonna get something fixed, I need to get it fixed like today, not like 3 months from now. So, but that being said, Courage has been so fantastic. I know it's super late here in this side of the country, and I want to say thank you.
My side of the country too.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm telling for the listener listening, because our other side of the country here, it's super late for us here. It might be early for you right now. Who knows? It could be like, good morning or whatever. Yeah. Or good morning Vietnam or how it goes. And so, hey, Courage, where can everybody find out all about your stuff and all your YouTube stuff at?
Yeah, feel free to check out Driven Dad 22 on both Instagram, YouTube. One thing I do want to plug is we've been wanting to get some questions in. So you guys got any questions you're curious about in the car world and want to ask, you also do it on Cool Cars with Chris as well. But shoot us a DM or comment on one of our posts on questions, because we love to kind of get give you some insights on some questions you guys have.
And that reminds me, on coolcarswithchris.com, there is a leave a message form built right into the website. And check this out. There is a leave a voice message feature built right into the website, coolcarswithchris.com. It should be under the contact page. Click on there and you can do either or, text or whatever. Or like you said, you can shoot us a message, send it over however you want, via kite, via, I don't know, social media,
bird,
whatever, the mail pigeon, whatever you want to do. You could send messages. There's so many ways you can do it these days. My gosh, there's like all kinds of ways to send messages these days. But you send it over, we'll check it out, and your question might be featured in the next episode. Sound good?
Yeah.
Sound good.
That's
all right.
Good.
Until next time, we'll be safe, drive legal, all the cool stuff. Don't crash your car, and we'll see you on the very next episode.